exploration, an opportunity for students, advisors, parents, and anyone interested in the community to find out a little bit more about the career opportunities that are available in our region and in our state. Our topic today kind of applies to everyone across the state. So we are excited to have Heather Collins with AJAC, and AJAC stands for Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee. So this is a very unique opportunity for students to learn how you can get some hands-on experience within industry and specifically aerospace, and get some knowledge, possibly get a paycheck, and see what careers are available to you within those different sectors. So with that, I'm going to remind everybody, I think everybody on the call so far, except for maybe one or two, has put their information in the chat. But if you will just identify your name, your school, and your grade, or if you're an advisor, instructor, community member, let us know that too. We are keeping track of everything because we do have some accountability to the state. So we have to record and measure how many people are in attendance always. And I am partnering here today with Tammy McBride, who is from North Central Educational Service District. So they service the region, all the different schools. So Tammy, did you have anything to say?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tammy McBride. Thanks for joining us today. And I hope you can learn a lot and enjoy this presentation.
Okay. So we are recording this today, so it will be made available on North Central Educational Service District's website, their YouTube channel. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Heather to give us an inside look into AJAC.
All right, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Heather Collins. Like Debbie and Tammy said, I am here with AJAC, which stands for the Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee. It is way easier to remember AJAC, so that's what we'll go by. And I am here today to talk to you about the Apprenticeship Ready program that we have going on at CB Tech in Moses Lake. And if you are outside of that region, this is also a statewide program. I know we shared this link with a few different school districts, so this is also available statewide, and we'll cover which schools it's available at. If you have any questions specifically for me while we talk today about this opportunity, feel free to type them in the chat. I'll either answer it during the presentation or at the end. So why don't let me get my PowerPoint going here. We'll get into it. So just a little bit about AJAC to start. We are a nonprofit that was founded in 2008. We are a state-funded apprenticeship program. We started with training up adults that were working in manufacturing, specifically in aerospace and those companies that were supporting Boeing. And we've really grown a lot since then to include companies in multiple spaces in advanced manufacturing. So we cover lots of different sub-industries now as we've expanded. We have support from both union and non-union employers. That's one really cool thing about being a nonprofit. A lot of people, when they hear apprenticeship, they think construction, they think unions. And we can work with an employer whether they're in a union or not. So that's something pretty unique that we can do. And our programs are really designed to support those small to mid-sized manufacturing employers. So the goal in everything that AJAC does is to train people up to get to a skilled position, skilled training in manufacturing. This is just a cool visual that we have. Everything that AJAC does, we are driven by serving our local employers. So we try to build our programs around depending on the skills that employers tell us they need. At the moment, we serve over 250 employers statewide. This map needs to be updated. We do have a few employers in the area that we serve. And at any point in time, we have about 350 adult apprentices in training with us. So as we get started, I think, I'm going to start with kind of this bigger overview of what is apprenticeship. And then as we move forward through the presentation, we'll kind of get more into what is the program specifically that we offer at your school, most likely CB Tech. But what is apprenticeship? What does that mean? What kind of programs do we offer? AJAC apprenticeship is 93% of your apprenticeship program is going to be on the job training, which means you are working with your employer, you're learning on the job with a mentor, and that's what you're going to do 93% of the time you're in training. That other 7% of the time is what we call related supplemental instruction, or RSI. And that is the time that you spend in the classroom, right? So for youth apprentices, that's time that you're going to spend at your high school or at your skills center. For adult apprentices, they go to college classes 1 night per week. Apprenticeship offers one-on-one mentorship on the job. So when you're on the job, you have a mentor teaching you all of the skills that you need to perform the job that you're training to. Apprentices in Washington get reduced tuition. That is more for adult apprentices. Obviously, when you're in high school, you're not paying tuition, but our adult apprentices get reduced tuition. You get wage progression. So as you learn more on the job and you learn more at school, you actually earn more up until the end of it. And then the really cool thing is at the end of an apprenticeship program, you get a journeyman's card from the Department of Labor and Industries that says you are trained in whatever occupation that you are training to, whatever program you join. And later in the presentation, we'll talk about what specifically those job occupations are that we train to. So actually, here we go. Later, meaning next slide. So these are all of the program offerings that AJAC offers across the board. So this is for our adult apprentices and also our youth apprentices that are currently in high school. And this picture is really cool. This is some of our youth apprentices working at Yakima Chief Hops down in Yakima, which is where I'm based in. So it's always cool to see them in there. So you can see we have lots of different program offerings, right, that are multiple hours of on-the-job training. So the longest program that we have is our tool and die maker, which is 10,000 hours of on-the-job training, or about 5 years. I'm not going to read through all of these, but I'd like to highlight the machinist program and the industrial maintenance technician program that are each at 8,000 hours, which translates to about 4 years of full-time work on the job. These are the programs that we are basically going to be training you to as high school students and youth apprentices. And then if you see down at the bottom, that production and automation technician, those are the programs we're really going to focus on today. Those are our youth apprenticeships that we partner with high schools and skill centers across the state to offer. We'll get more into what each of those does, but as you can see, it takes normally around 18 months to complete. It all depends on how many hours you're able to work per week. Sometimes it's a little bit shorter, sometimes it's a little bit longer, but on average, it's about an 18-month program. So high school programs. In 2016, we were asked by the state to develop an apprenticeship program for high school students. We started with a few different school districts in Washington, and since then we've grown quite a bit. So let me see what we've got. Okay, before I get into this. So we got started with youth apprenticeship in about 2016. Like I said, with different school districts across the state. Production technician is offered. We'll have a slide that shows it. That is more of a machining focused career that we have in a few different places across the state. The one at CB Tech, if you're here from the Moses Lake area, is our automation technician program, and that focuses a little bit more on maintenance and understanding the operation of automated machinery at an employer you go to. So the youth apprenticeship is a really cool opportunity. With COVID, we have had to kind of restructure a little bit what the program looks like. So we're going to kind of get into what is apprenticeship ready. That's what we're talking about today. What can you do to become ready to enter apprenticeship, to enter manufacturing, and kind of some of the training that AJAC provides. So the first step for being apprenticeship ready is our Summer Bootcamp. So this summer, in July, we are going to have 1 to 2 weeks of training to cover some different manufacturing basics to help see if manufacturing is a good fit for you. Sometimes it's one of those things where you think it sounds cool, and then once you get into learning stuff, you realize it's not quite the right fit, which is okay. So we want to work with you on teaching you some of those skills in manufacturing, getting you ready for that. So that boot camp, we are going to cover things like safety training. We do OSHA 10 training, first aid training. We do some training on how to be safe with COVID-19 in the workplace. And you'll go through all of that. We'll go through some basic skills that you need, possibly some forklift safety training. We'll try to set up some employer tours so you can actually go into a manufacturing plant, see what they do, ask questions about what those jobs would look like. And so that boot camp is really for you to get some super cool certifications and knowledge of the manufacturing industry, and then 2, to see if that's the right fit for you and something you want to move forward with. If it is something you love and enjoy, or maybe you already know that this is something you'd like to do, so step 2 for apprenticeship ready is going to be classroom instruction, right? So if you're here from the Moses Lake area, that's going to be at CB Tech. Or if you're from another area of the state, your high school or skills center that partners with AJAC, and you can actually get into the classroom with an instructor and start taking those AJAC classes and really learning those specific skills. And then step 3 would either be entering into an apprenticeship. So everything I've been talking about with that on-the-job training, attending classes, you would get that hopefully hired at a local employer. So that would be step 3, or moving on to college and continuing your education in manufacturing or engineering or a similar path would definitely be an option for you as well. So those are kind of the 3 steps to getting apprenticeship ready. So yeah, I this just a little bit, but like I said, so step 1 boot camp. Those are the dates, July 12th through 16th. It is going to be hybrid, so mostly this will be offered online virtual, but we will be able to do some in-person training. Next, you can see some of those certifications that I talked about. We'll also talk about shop skills. So what are the skills that you need to get into the industry? And like I said, this is open for all students in Washington State. So whether or not you are in an area that offers the AJAC apprenticeship or not, so if you're maybe outside of the Columbia Basin Skills Center area, you're still welcome to come to boot camp. There's absolutely no cost for it. And then we can do some training just to help you get started in that manufacturing space. At the end of it, we'll make sure you receive a certificate of completion, so you've got a lot of great things to put on your resume by the end of it. So step 2, these are those classes that we talked about. So if you are in an area with a school that AJAC partners with, you'll start your classes in the fall. So to be at CB Tech or any skills center, really, you need to be either a junior or a senior next year. These classes are, there's 3 college level classes that we do. You do get college credits for them as long as you pass them. You get college level or you get college credit for them. It comes out to 15 college credits by the end of it, so 5 credits for each class. And if you are in the area where we're with CB Tech, they've partnered with Big Bend Community College so that you get the college credits through BBCC. And then after you take your first quarter of classes, I will meet with you from AJAC. Teacher will meet with you and we'll talk to you about what your goals are for the upcoming year. If you're feeling ready to go to work, if you're enjoying the classes you're taking, kind of what your goals are, either in education or in your career. And so after the first quarter, we'll kind of meet up and talk with you about that. We'll also do some employer tours. And then after we talk to you, sorry, it doesn't go to step 3 next. So after we talk to you about that, step 3 would be then pursuing that apprenticeship, right? So after you've finished your first quarter of classes, we see that you're doing well, we see this is something you're really interested in, and we've gotten to know you a little bit better. Then we'll work with you on partnering you with some employers in the area to see if they're open to hiring an apprentice. So like I mentioned, there are 2 different tracks that we have for AJAC Youth Apprenticeship. So these are all of the schools that do our production technician program, which is our more machining focused creating parts. That's what this program is more focused on. So you can see here if your school is on this list, if you're outside of the Moses Lake area, when we do those programs. Each school has a different schedule, so you can kind of see underneath that when those are offered. And the classes that our production technician apprentices take are engineering drawings, precision machining 101, and precision machining 102. So if you're in one of those school districts that was on the previous slide, these are the classes that you would take at a school that partners with AJAC. I'm going to focus more because I think pretty much everyone on here from what I saw in the chat is in the Moses Lake area. So the automation technician, we offer that in 3 different areas right now. So as you can see, Columbia Basin Tech is on here. The class schedule for that, normally you go to class as an apprentice 2 days per week. If you are working as an apprentice, you'll go the full 5 days per week if you're not yet working or if you're just taking the classes. But apprentices go to class 2 days per week, and then the other 3 days of the week they actually work during the school day at their local employer. And your high school credits and college credits are worked into that.
Gotcha.
Sorry, is that a question?
Hey, is this Samantha? Hi, Samantha. This is Shannon.
All right, sorry about that. So here's the classes for automation technician. So if you do join our program at CB Tech, you will be taking these 3 classes. So technical drawings is normally what we start with. This is where you learn to read and interpret blueprint drawings, engineering drawings, and schematics. Then we go into mechanical systems, which is where you learn all of the fundamentals of, you know, anything that makes a mechanical system run, and you get some pretty cool projects that you do in there. And then we go into fluid power systems, which is where you learn hydraulic and pneumatic power systems. You learn how all of those work and then also how to keep them running. So there's a little bit of that maintenance component too. I always say if you're the type of person that likes to take things apart and put them back together again and see how they work, automation technician is a really great fit for you because that's basically what the whole thing is, right? Is learning how all these different machines work, what makes them run, and then how can you keep them running, which is a super important job in the industry. So we already kind of covered this, but like I said, after your first quarter of classes, we are going to work with you and try to find the best opportunity for you, what would be the best fit. So during your class, of course, we're going to try to connect you to industry through either company speakers in your class, company tours, or people that can come in and give you more information about industry. And then after the first quarter of class, your teacher will kind of let us know how you're doing in class, if you're doing well. If you're showing up, honestly, that's probably like the #1 thing, because if you show up to class, I can trust that you're going to show up to your job. So are you showing up? Are you doing your work? Have you been committed to learning? Then your teacher will let us know if you're job ready, and we'll check in one-on-one with you. Here's kind of the options after you complete that first quarter of class. So the first option is you can just stay taking the classes, going to class and continuing to earn those college credits that are worked into that. If they're available, we would possibly be able to connect you with an unpaid internship opportunity. So we would be able to maybe send you to an employer for a couple weeks or a month, maybe paid, maybe unpaid. And then ideally what we'd like to do if you're ready to work is connect you to that apprenticeship program I've been talking about, where you do the 2,000 hours of on-the-job training with a mentor on the job and receive that journeyman's card. So as long as they're available, we'll want to connect you to those for sure. And then, with apprenticeship, so if you do join the apprenticeship, get employed at a local company, it's very important that you complete all 3 of those AJAC classes at your school and pass all of them. Important. You'll interview with an AJAC employer. You'll complete those 2,000 hours of on-the-job training. So that takes, like I said, about 18 months to maybe 2 years. You'll work part-time during the school year, full-time during the summer. And then at the end of those 2,000 hours of on-the-job training, you get that journeyman card. You're also getting a little bit of a higher wage to recognize you for the training and education you've put into that. And then after apprenticeship, AJAC is here. We're here to support you in whatever you want to do. You can continue to go to college. I've had some students go on to college to pursue engineering or different programs, or you can look into AJAC adult apprenticeship opportunities in the area, or continue to work at your employer and work your way up from within. It all depends. So throughout that whole process, AJAC is here to talk with you about that. I'll be, checking in with you one-on-one to see how things are going, and support you no matter what direction you want to go after high school and after you complete the apprenticeship. So this is just kind of a little summary of and a visual of what a production technician does on the job. So, and it's not like you'll do only assembly for 3 to 6 months and then only inspection. That's just about how much time out of the 2 years or the 2,000 hours that you would spend. So it's just a little visual to kind of show you what those job duties are. Here's an automation technician visual. This one would be the program that we have at CB Tech. It focuses a lot more on maintenance, assembly, and repair. There's a little bit of welding worked into it. Sometimes welding is required for maintenance. We also have inspection, and then we always have a space for bench work, which is kind of a catch-all. So that's anything that doesn't fit into another category that we have there. We call that bench work because each employer is a little bit different, right? So that's that time you spend working on something that's maybe unique to that employer. Already kind of talked about this a little. So and the work schedule, it all depends on you, and it depends on when employers are ready to hire. So in some cases, students start their apprenticeship while they're in school. That's normally how we like to do it. Some will start after graduation, and it will all depend on those jobs that are available and what you're ready for. If you're under 18, we work with you, we work with the employer, and we work with Labor and Industries to get you a variance letter that covers your safety when you're at work. It's very important to us that you're safe on the job. And then we also work with your schools and your employer on your schedule to make sure that your work schedule accommodates your school schedule, because we want you obviously to finish high school and get your high school diploma. So we'll make sure that you're not working during times that you need to be in class. So here's just kind of some of the requirements. In order to enter AJAC's apprenticeship or classes, you have to be 16 years old. I think we prefer 16 for the boot camp as well. So 16 is normally the minimum age. And if you're wanting to work, you absolutely have to be 16. That's the legal age to work. We suggest having at least a 2.0 GPA. If it's a little bit lower than that, just talk to us. We do ask for a copy of your transcripts. If it's a little bit lower, just talk to us, let us know what you're struggling with. But we just want to make sure as we get you into these classes that are at a college level that we can help support you and that that's something that you're going to be able to complete. We do require that you've passed Algebra 1. We ask for a letter from your teacher recommending you to the program. And if you choose the path to work, if we are able to put you into the apprenticeship, you need to have transportation to and from the work site, and it needs to be reliable. Even if you're getting a ride from somebody, that needs to be a reliable ride that you can count on. You have to be legally able to work in Washington State. And then also if you go to work, you have to be able to pass a drug test. That's just standard for any manufacturer. So if you don't think you're going to be able to pass a drug test, don't even try to start the apprenticeship because you're going to have to. So here's just kind of some questions that we normally get asked quite a bit. So one, can AJAC guarantee jobs to students? We get this one all the time. No, we cannot guarantee you a job. At the end of the day, we can connect you to employers. We can try to set you up with getting the apprenticeship opportunity, but at the end of the day, you are responsible to get that job and to show up and to keep that job. So no, we cannot guarantee a job for you, but we can do our best to connect you with an employer that's hiring. Another question, what if I don't get hired after I graduate? If you don't get hired after you graduate, Like I said, we can work with you after you graduate. We normally check in on you and see what your goals are. I will work with you one-on-one to see what you'd like to do and try to connect you to other opportunities or help you get into college or things like that. So if you don't get hired, there's definitely options like we have a manufacturing academy program that you can take online with us that helps get you ready for employment. We have adult apprenticeship opportunities. So we'll just talk through all of that and go through that. So next question, what if I go through boot camp and my school doesn't have an AJAC program? What's my next steps? So that's if you take our summer boot camp program, but maybe you're not in the school area that CB Tech serves. We can work with you to provide more manufacturing academy training, perhaps get you connected with another one of our virtual things. So we'll just work with you after boot camp and see what might be the best fit for you, maybe after you graduate, maybe something during school. So we will work with you on that. If you go through the classes and do not want to go, or if you don't want to work and go into the apprenticeship, that's totally fine. If you don't go into the apprenticeship, but you do complete the classes, like I said, as long as you get that passing grade, you'll get those college credits. And then afterwards, we can either help connect you maybe with an entry-level job, getting into college, whatever path you want to go down. And then what's the deadline to sign up? I don't even know that we have a drop dead deadline right now, but as soon as possible would be great. We're starting to order materials. I would say at least by June, we'd like you to sign up for the boot camp. And then the deadline to sign up for CB Tech, I don't know off the top of my head, but if you're wanting to get into the classes at Columbia Basin, just make sure to check out their website. I think I have their link on the next slide because you'll need to register for them too. So yeah, what's next, right? If you're interested in this, if this sounds like something you want to do, definitely make sure to sign up for AJAC's bootcamp. That's the first step really to see if this is the right fit for you, if you're interested in manufacturing, and then if you want to go into apprenticeship. So that will be July 12th. I put through the 23rd. Really, it will be for the first week. Live lecture, and then the second week will be a little bit more optional tours, possibly some in-person training, and time for you to finish up on anything you didn't complete in the first week. So you can sign up for that at our website, which is AJAC, ajactraining.org/youth. I have the link right there. And you should see a link to sign up for bootcamp right on that page. It's super easy. It's just like your name, phone number, email, and then we'll reach out to you and give you some more information as we get closer to bootcamp. Yeah, and so then to apply, like I said, this is the link to CB Tech. So if you want to apply for the automation technician program, make sure to follow that link to CB Tech. You can also talk to your school counselors about signing up for CB Tech. And the program that I'm talking about right now is the automated manufacturing and design program. I think with CB Tech, you can apply online, or you can always work with your counselor to get that enrollment form and get ready for next year. All right, that's what I've got. Do we have any questions that I missed?
We do have a question in the chat from Jose who's wanting to focus on welding, and which one would you recommend?
So for welding, if you want to just focus on welding, I believe CB Tech has a program specifically for welding. We don't partner in the apprenticeship piece with that, which is totally fine, but I would recommend applying on that CB Tech website. Thank you, Tammy, for the link in the chat. So follow that link and you'll see that they have a welding program that you can sign up for.
I didn't catch the other link though. It was
yes.
The AJAC training / something rather. I got halfway there. Awesome.
AJACtraining.org/youth is where you'll go for our boot camp.
Perfect.
All right. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing any, Heather. You must have done an amazing job presenting the overall program.
Hopefully. I sometimes feel like I throw out a fire hose of information at you guys and then you just kind of process it. So at the end here, if you have absolutely any questions, if you're in Eastern Washington, which I think pretty much everyone on here is, that is my email address. You can reach out to me if you have any questions or just want to know how to sign up. I will also put my phone number in the chat. You can text or call that number and I'd be happy to help. And then if you do happen to be here from Western Washington, that is Tracy's contact information. She is the youth program manager over on the western side of the state. So if you are in that area and have questions, we have her email address there as well for you.
And I do believe we had a young man from Renton. So Brian, looks like Brian may have dropped off the call, but he was on the call earlier from Renton High School.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, final call for questions, everyone. All right, you've got Heather's contact information. Feel free to follow up with her for more information or to have any of your questions answered. And again, Tammy will make this available on North Central Educational Service District's YouTube channel. So you can find it there.
I will put that in the chat so people can go to that. Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Tammy, thanks for posting that link in the chat. If you want to see this video again, probably because I covered a lot of information there. So if you want to hear some of it again, that would definitely be a good opportunity. Perfect.
There you go. All right.
Thank you so much, Tammy.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great
Thank you,
night.
everyone, for joining.
Thank you.